Doesn't it look really bright?
It looks so bright. Holy fuck.
What's going on here?
Are the lights super bright today?
Does it look better now?
I don't know. Or maybe our eyes just adjusted to it.
Okay. Let's see how it goes. Oh my God, you look so cute.
Thanks.
I just got a glimpse of your face in light because our apartment's so dark and you look great.
Thank you.
I feel like I always open with some sort of compliment for you. Really trying to get you set off on the right foot.
I guess I need it.
No, I don't think you do.
I do need it.
I think it's just my
good.
nature.
Yeah.
But hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Conscious Cowboys.
Hi.
We did something really cool last night.
Yeah. Do you want to explain? Because you're like the queen of explaining stuff. I feel like I'm never.
That is not right. I think I just take the long way around.
No, I think you are explain really in depth where I'm like, yeah, it was cool. We just did like a breathing exercise, cold plunge, and went in the sauna. And people are like,
Okay, so Philip and I went like a year and a half ago to this place where you do, I don't even know how long the breathwork class actually is, but it's really cool. You go in.
Sometimes it felt like too long. I was like, when is this over?
Yeah, because, okay, breathwork is obviously very rigorous, and it's like you put in so much effort that when you get out of that moment, like there's like 40 breath cycle that you do really intensely and then you rest. It's like, okay, I don't want to go back in.
Yeah, I know. And then the first like 10 breaths, I'm like, I don't really care for this. And then after you get into like that flow state, and you're like, all right, I can do this. And it's like 6 more breaths. And I'm like, thank God.
But you go into this room and there's like plush yoga mats laid out, and they've got bolsters underneath your knees, and they've got like soft plush blankets and pillows and these really nice eye masks. And you like basically like suit up, like you go into this little cocoon, and he leads you through this crazy breath work with really loud music, and he's really encouraging. It's kind of like Tony Robbins meets breathwork. Do you know who that is? He's
he's a motivational speaker.
Yes.
Or it's like a soul cycle vibe, but you're lying down on a mat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. And then after the breathwork class, because there's like meditation right at the end, which feels so good, right? When you're done with the crazy breath work and then you just get to chill.
I literally dozed off.
Yeah, I felt like I had no body. It was really weird. It was almost like sensory deprivation, even though I've never done that tank.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Oh, yeah, you haven't.
No, because I was dealing with my fucking skin condition when you went to do it.
Yeah.
But I had no connection to my body at the end, which was really nice. So you get out of the breathwork class and then you go change into your bathing suit and you go into a cold plunge, which I don't even know what temperature the water is, but that was Madison's first time ever doing a cold plunge. So can you explain how that felt for you? I haven't even really asked, like, how was it?
So the reason that I was laughing just now is because I was thinking about our experience. And when we were after the breathwork, there was this man that like when we walked into the Breathe Degrees, like the place we were doing this at, he was staring at me and Tess, and he was in like our breathwork session. And then after, like Phil was looking at us and we're like seated, and I look over and I see like the guy that was staring at us, and then Phil goes, that was the guy that was massaging your neck. And for reference, like during the breath work, like while you're like in the calm before the storm before you start it up again, they bring like this like stuff onto your neck. It's kind of like, what is that stuff called?
It almost smells like Vicks. Like it's supposed to help open up your airways. So whatever the like
more than that.
Yes.
I think that's pretty natural though. Vicks is. I don't think it's that bad. But
yeah.
So they like massage that onto your neck and shoulders. And then when Phil was like, that was the guy that was massaging you, dude, I could not stop laughing. Like I was dead. And it was like these little delicate hands that came by and massaged.
He wasn't
like,
a delicate man.
No, it was definitely the front desk, like the girl doing it. But anyway, the cold plunge, I kept thinking about it actually, like when we were doing the breath work, like I was like dreading it. And I was like, okay, let's just push those thoughts out because you're expecting it to be like this horrible thing, which it wasn't even that cold. It was, what did it say? It said 44 degrees.
I didn't actually notice
it said
that.
44.6 degrees. Okay. And I saw it when I walked in. I was like, all right. No. And you put like these little booties on, which I think next time I go, I want to try without it. And then he, like the guy, the instructor, talked us through it, and I got in, and Phil and Tess were already in, and it was cold, and I like made a joke when I walked in, of course, because like I just had to, And then it, like at first I remember my shoulders like being tense and they were up, and then I could feel his hand like come behind me, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. So then I relax, and then it was fine. And then your body starts to feel like super warm. And then when you connect with your breath and he's like guiding you through it, then it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I just could not, like, mentally, the fear of putting my fucking arms in there, like, I had them up the whole time, because then I saw like Phil had his arms in at first, and then he fucking put them up, and I was like, dude, I'm not even gonna try and put my arms in right now.
Yeah, I had my elbows.
Absolutely not.
I was probably like halfway up my forearms. My elbows were in, and I like. Have you ever been so cold that your bones kind of hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, so that started happening. Like my elbows were so cold that my ring fingers started to hurt. And I was like, so I kept going like this, trying to like move my hands around to get blood flow. But then I was like, okay, we've only got 1 minute left. Like we can do it.
Yeah.
So we lasted, I don't know, like
over
maybe
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5.5. And then you get out and you go into a jacuzzi to warm back up.
Dude, and then when I stepped in the jacuzzi, I don't know, you literally walked right in. I could not walk in. I was burning. Like that sensation of when you get in the jacuzzi at first and you're literally on fire, but it was from the cold plunge to the jacuzzi.
Yeah,
so it was even
extra.
colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could not get in that for like at least a few minutes.
Yeah. And then you rinse off and then you go sit in a sauna, which is so nice.
Oh my God.
But it was really packed
heavenly.
in there.
It was packed in there. It was like everyone in town was in the sauna.
But it was still really nice. And then you, like, once you've had enough of the sauna, then you go home.
Yeah.
And this was my third time doing it. And I always feel like really tired. Like the initial, like when you leave the class and that whole element, you're really energized. Mm-hmm. Like you're like, I always feel like really good when I leave. I'm like in a happy mood.
Yeah,
I feel
you
awesome.
do feel
and
good.
There's a lot of science behind that, right? Like there's so many chemicals that get released from breath work, from cold plunging, and then going in the sauna. So it makes sense. But then like doing it, because we did a 7 p.m. class, doing it that late at night sucked because then I couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah,
like,
so then
I was
I'm
not
in my
tired.
bed. No,
I kept
I wasn't
staring at
tired.
Philip in bed. He's like, hi. I'm not tired at all.
Dude, I wasn't tired either, which I was happy because then I could read, but I was like, hello.
Yeah. But then I don't know. Now I kind of feel, I mean, there's probably other reasons why I feel really tired today, but I do feel more tired than normal.
Okay.
Which I think that's not,
normal.
I don't think it's like associated with the breathwork class at all. I think it's
No.
just how my body's feeling.
Yeah, and I think that typically that just tends to happen because you teach early on Mondays, so then, you know, you're catching up on that sleep.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so that was our little adventure yesterday. I think it's really fun to go and do stuff like that and meet new people and experience something physically.
No, it was really fun. And then I also like to know like we're contributing to our health and wellness practices. Like I feel like it's so ingrained in us. So then to do something new to add to that always makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah, like how the other week Madison goes to yoga like, I don't know, 3-4 times a week at this point, right? Maybe
like
more.
5, yeah.
And she brought me with her one day and it was so nice. And it's like to just go and try something new. I don't know. It makes you feel like whole. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can try this also. I don't know.
It opens your mind a little bit more. Which
I think could lead us into what we're talking about today.
We're naturals at this.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, do you forget your train of thought?
No, I'm not. I'm just laughing at like, we're naturals at this because now it doesn't feel natural to me to say what's coming next. But anyways, with expanders, that's what we're going into today.
I was like, okay, they don't know. We're talking about expanders.
You fucking threw me off.
That's your own fault, dude. I just said something to give us a little boost and you got weird.
So we're talking about expanders today, which we've done an episode on it in the past. And then recently one of our friends, Carissa, brought it up to us that she called us her expanders.
Which is so nice.
And if you don't even know what expanders is, you're about to find out and you'll understand why.
You're about to find out because we're going to tell you.
Madison, take it away.
Why do I have to take it away?
So I had to look up like the technical definition of expanders, which I don't even know if there is one because it's kind of a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
But it was, from my research, anything, but typically it's people. But I like to think of it as it doesn't have to be just a person.
Yes.
It's something or someone that helps broaden your horizon and kind of show you what's possible or what you're interested in.
Yes.
How would you word it?
No, I would say that like something that opens your mind and maybe reminds you of what your purpose is or what it can be.
Okay. So the reason that expanders even came into our ether was because probably how long ago at this point? Like 2.5, 3 years?
Maybe even like close to 4.
What?
Yes, because it was before you and Phil met. The year before
Well,
that.
dated. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's been a couple years at this point, but Madison and I were at a party that my brother was hosting with like all of his friends, and we just went because like, okay, like family party, like we'll just go
we're
and
just like,
meet.
why not?
Yeah.
Like not expecting anything to happen. Like I didn't even really know who his friends were.
No, me either. Really?
Dude, it was when my dad was dating Laura.
Oh,
So whenever that was.
okay.
Because I remember I was at my dad's house and I was getting ready to leave and she was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But we were there and like we met 2 people that just like changed the course of not just our night, because we were not expecting to hit it off with people so well. Like that's always really fun when you're at a party and you meet someone new and you're just like on the same wavelength and banter's great and you're just having
They were
fun.
boys, obviously.
Yeah.
We met 2 people. No, there were 2 boys who were also really good friends. Now it's like I think we mentioned this in the last Expanders episode maybe, but I think we felt like awkward because it was like so close to that occurrence. And now it's like, oh, well, we could talk about it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, can we? I'm not going to go into detail like fully.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are 2 guys, obviously good looking. We're both flirting with them, but also, I mean, well, how much can I go into this? I feel like it just kind of like opened, specifically more so, opened Tess's eyes to like a path that she was going down that maybe wasn't the right path, or it was not. I'll say that it wasn't right for her anymore. And so her and this guy hit it off and it kind of expanded her world, which expanded mine too. And yeah, that's basically what happened. But that's so vague because I don't want to like give
There's
too
certain
many
details
yeah,
that
that's like are not appropriate to share. But
people are now, their heads are spinning like what happened? Nothing happened.
No, but but like everything happened, you know? Like it's so my cousin Kelly, I was telling her this story like maybe 2 weeks after it had happened. And Kelly was like, "Oh, that they're an expander. Like that guy or those guys are expanders for you guys." And I was like, "Wait, what even is that term?" Mm-hmm. So then she explained it to us, like probably better than we explained it before this entire story. And I mean, simply like it expands your mind, expands your horizons, and it like leads you to where you need to go, like more into alignment. You could say that. And that just blew our mind. So then we made an episode on it, and now we're back doing it again because we feel like it's important. And it's also really cool. And it helps, like I was explaining to Tess yesterday that like reminding myself of what my expanders are helps me ground myself when I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Like, what do I need to do right now to feel like myself?
Yeah. So when I think about expanders in my life, I have like different categories, and not that they always fit into one category, but there's kind of like, that's the category of how like that expanded me in the way that I feel, or kind of like what I want for myself on a personal level or in a bond with someone, or that expanded me of what's possible for a career, or that expanded me of what I want for like my goals, like my health goals or whatever. So there's different kind of categories that I kind of segment things into. But for the people that we met, the guys, I'm not allowed to call them people, the guys we met at the Christmas party that we went to, I felt like showed us like, I think we were enjoying our life, but I felt like that was the first time where it was like a switch went off of, oh my God, I'm actually not having fun.
Yeah, like it kind of showed us another way to be and to feel that felt better than our current existence, which, as you mentioned, was good. But we were like, whoa, wait, it could be better.
Yeah, it just, I vividly remember, and this was like, this again was the first time
Dude,
that
I'm just thinking like, imagine telling them that they were our expanders. I would.
No.
Did we?
Yeah, one of them knows.
Which one? Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we
That's
talked about it and
really
he felt the
embarrassing.
same way.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, okay.
God damn.
We are just doing the worst job at telling this story.
Dude,
oh my
we're
God.
just to put it out there is that we're just like not in the headspace today.
I
For the
just-
last like few days.
It's
we were
not that
just
I
like,
don't want to be
dude,
here. I just feel like a little bit spacey. So
yeah,
that makes sense
no, we
why we're
wanna
taking
be
the long
here.
way.
Yes, we want to be here, but it's like having a detailed outline of what we're supposed to talk about is really challenging.
Yeah, it's not right.
No.
Okay, so let's get back to like them. So we were having fun and I felt like I remember that next day, like first of all, we left there that night and we were like, what the hell just happened? Like it was honestly like a shocking experience. We were like,
Like
did
we were,
any of that just
launched
happen?
into another fucking universe or like
Yeah.
a realm where we're just
Yeah.
like, where are we?
But then I remember the next day, not only did you say something to me, but my brother did. And my brother, like, he came up to me and he's like, yeah, I just like have not seen you like that.
Oh yeah, I
in
remember
years.
that.
He was like, you have like this life about you right now that you haven't had in a long, long time. And it's really nice to see your personality come out.
Yes.
And I didn't realize like any of that was happening until that moment where I was like, am I really not myself? I had no idea. But right now, all I know is I feel like myself and I have to freaking ride this wave. I don't know where this is going. It doesn't matter where it's going, but oh my gosh, my horizon broadened. And that's so the course of our life honestly did change from meeting those two people, not because of them and we like have a future with them or anything like that. It was, they were almost like, I'm very visual, right? I visualized like they became a roadblock of the path I was going down. And then we veered off into something completely different. And now we're here. But if we hadn't met them, our path, I mean, it probably at some point would have veered off, but it wouldn't have at that time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
Like
it.
we changed our entire like life plan from that moment. We're like, nope, not moving here, not going with those people. We're on to like a completely different path.
Yeah, because I feel like we were chasing that feeling that they gave us. So anything that didn't help us to feel that way, we just were like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're not chasing them, but like what we just felt. We're like, let's keep finding that and keep going towards that good feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah. So besides that experience, when you think back about expanders in your life, what are things that come up for you?
Well, so when we were talking about this originally, I feel like I've had so many expanders throughout my whole life. And some of them are not even like super important.
Yeah.
You know, like one of them for sure, I would say like as a teenager was Tumblr. Like that, we lived in a relatively small town. I feel like I had a very sheltered childhood because we lived on the outskirts of LA. So I wasn't like going to clubs at like 15.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they were like parties for our school. So it was a really small town vibe. So when I would go on Tumblr, it had a bunch of photos of like traveling and style and fashion and like things that were not like directly in front of me. So then it like broadened my mind in a million ways. And I feel like that helped me, for lack of a better word, kind of like manifest where I wanted to go. And I feel like that helped also like propel me into working in the fashion industry and things like that. And like having such a big experience with that, because I was like, anything is possible. I've seen it, even though it's just photos, but like it
But it's out
gave
there.
me that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do that. Like if I see it, it's mine.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
That's such a good one. I honestly relate to that. I don't know how many people really use Tumblr. If you're not familiar, it's kind of like as Madison was saying, it's kind of like a blog site.
Yes.
Where it's not quite Instagram, but it was like,
It was like Pinteresty vibes.
but not.
Right.
Because I think Pinterest can be like really
No, I
kinda
never got into
cluttered.
Pinterest. I was like hardcore, like I'm Tumblr, like
Yeah.
not Pinterest.
And you could pin it to your page and stuff, and you can really get this idea of like what, like fashion wise, home wise. Like I remember I had a school project and I did it on Tumblr. Like I created a blog for interior design off of Tumblr, and I was like, maybe I could be like like an assistant to an architect, or maybe I can be an interior designer because of Tumblr. Like
Yes.
it really did broaden. It wasn't like, oh, that's a cute outfit, I want to wear that, or like I want to travel here. Like all that could be me and my boyfriend when I'm 30.
Yeah.
You know?
It was like, no, I need to embody this. Like the vibe, like I still have a Tumblr and I still go on it and I get so many ideas. It broadens my horizons and expands my mind every time I go on it.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad it's still around because there's
Dude,
so
me
many
too.
sites. Like if you are in our generation, we grew up with certain things that are just no longer existing. Like one that I loved was Vine.
I knew you were gonna say
Vine's
that.
done.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, there's
Vine
TikTok,
was so
but
short-lived. I feel like it was literally felt like maybe a year or two.
yeah, AIM, MySpace, all these things that I used on a daily basis now don't exist.
Yeah, but I'm like, thank God those things are done because they were just archaic.
Yes,
Like honestly,
of course.
MySpace, like I'm surprised it lived for as long as it did.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is I'm surprised that Tumblr is
yeah.
still around.
I know. I always think about that because there's another site that people like to use where they like, I don't know what it is. It's like like Wikipedia. Okay, so you know how like Wikipedia was going under, maybe it still is, and you could like donate to it. If Tumblr had that option, I would do it because I need to keep it around. You know, like I am sad, but if it went away, I'd be very sad. But I have so many screenshots on my phone that I like of important things that I've seen that I feel like, well,
yeah,
at least I still have those 3,000 quotes on my phone.
Yeah. One for me that I was thinking about was, her name is Melissa Wood. She's a entrepreneur who has an online Pilates, but like kind of wellness space. And she does like workout videos and different things. And now she's got a platform where other teachers are on there. But I've been following her for years and I love who she is as a person. And she was kind of the first person that made me think, oh, I could do something in the digital space in my own way. Because it didn't feel like she was trying to be anything other than who she was. And she still made it work. And that was always really inspiring to me. Like she's doing standing flows in her kitchen, like holding onto the kitchen countertop, or I don't know. It was just like, it was her. And I felt like, oh, I don't have to go into some studio setting and have like professional lighting and camera and sound. Like I can do this out of my kitchen. And it made me think bigger for myself. Like I was no longer blocking my own dream or my own vision because I was shown that, no, you can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about Melissa Wood until you showed me.
Yeah. And I still to this day do her workouts. Like I did one yesterday and my hamstrings are so sore.
Hell
Feels
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So another one going back in time for me is not only YouTube, but specifically Sarah's Day YouTube channel. Like going in alignment with your example just then is when I was going to UC Santa Barbara, and I was living there and I was in between classes, and I don't know how I even discovered her channel, but I like grew a love for long form content also. Cause I just like for the entirety of Instagram, like being something, I never was really that into it. So YouTube, I was like, all right, I like this because you could follow people's lives like a bit more in depth. And Sarah's Day, like I think I watched from the beginning of her career until now, and I don't really watch her videos anymore, but like when I first discovered her, I was like, holy shit, like I not only subscribe to like her type of lifestyle, but I could also do that. I think it also helped for when we wanted to create Cowboys, because I had her as an example and I was like, oh yeah, we can do this. And since I didn't want to do something by myself, I was like, thank God me and Tess can join forces and do this. So yeah, she's a good one.
Yeah, she is. You even got me into her.
Yeah. And it was also really fun because I discovered her later on in her career. So she was already like 1 million plus subscribers. So then when I saw her at the beginning, like it was helpful to see like that sort of storyline until where she got to 1 million followers. Like it was so like I could understand like why people fell in love with her. And I was like, damn, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, this one's gonna make everyone laugh. You are an expander for me.
I'll literally cry.
Don't.
Really? Doesn't like all
and
cry.
Okay, like I think if I think about it, like so many of my friends are expanders for me in their own ways, right? Like I see right now Amanda as a mom, and I'm like, oh, I can be a mom and still have my life and do my thing. And like, she makes it look so easy. And like,
yeah,
if I had any ideas of like what I needed to be as a mom, maybe she's changed my perspective on it. Like she still does all of the mom things, but like has her own life
Yeah,
too.
she's like us, but isn't mom.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, you have a child?
Yeah, and I'm
That's
like,
insane.
and you're still like amazing and cute and you're healthy and fun. Like,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Same.
And obviously so many other friends in their own ways, but in this realm, you've expanded my mind of what's possible for us. Like you're constantly pushing for Cowboys and you're constantly pushing for a like not so traditional life, which is really exciting to me because yes, I do want some of the traditional things in life. Like I want a family, I want a husband, like all those things, but I'm thinking bigger picture than maybe I was. Like I always had a big vision for myself, but now I'm getting more specific on things. And I feel like because you are in my like daily life.
Oh my God, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Enjoy that.
Cute. That'll literally make me in a good mood for like 2 months.
Great. We could use that right now, you know?
Yeah,
Not
I
that you've been
know.
in a bad mood, but like we could use good moods.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute. Okay. So, example for me now, which is this really obvious, and I seriously think I mention this every podcast episode, but it just is my current reality, is Sarah J. Maas books.
Oh, I was like, who?
Who is that?
I thought you were going to say Sarah Jessica Parker, and I was like,
Dude, yeah,
Excuse
Sarah
me,
Jessica
what?
Parker.
oh, okay. So if you're not familiar, she's the one. I'm sure you've likely heard about it at this point, even from just this podcast. But Madison's been doing a lot of reading on her stuff. And
Yes.
there's how many series? 3 or 4?
There are 3. And so A Court of Thorn and Roses is what Tess is reading. And that's what I read first. And then now I'm on A Throne of Glass.
Okay.
And they're expanders for me just for a million reasons. But 2 like prominent ones are that they've expanded my imagination, which like I feel like I like got it working again. Like it was just stagnant. I mean, I definitely am imaginative in many ways, but more so like real life ways, like how we want to do the podcast, or like ways that are like productive to reality, I guess, my reality, like physically. Whereas this is purely like I'm thinking like I did when I was a kid, and like I can make up stories in my mind. And honestly, I was telling Testis the other day that my comprehension has increased so much, like since actually reading every day, which thank God, because my comprehension is really poor, which is still not great, but it's a little bit better. And no, seriously, I like struggle sometimes to recall things. Like I can really pick up information in the moment, and then when someone asks me to explain something, I'm like, how do I explain this? Like it's really challenging. But I think it's only because I want to like verbatim say it, which I'm like, I don't have a photographic memory, so how do I expect that of myself?
Yeah.
Anyway, so imagination, yes. And then also it's like broaden my horizon of how I can enjoy myself, or like bring joy into my life. Like reading. Like that to me was more foreign than anything like 3 months ago, where I was like constantly searching for something, and now I'm like, okay, I have this and I feel very content and I want to savor these moments, and then I'll be on to the next thing, I don't know, in a few months maybe, but for now I like it.
I also like it for you for one major reason is it's teaching Madison how to rest.
Dude, I know, I was saying this to Tess
Yeah.
yesterday, is that like I appreciate that I am okay with like laying down for like 2 hours and reading. Like typically that would not happen. I would feel like I need to get up and go
Yeah.
do something. Like this is not enough.
Yeah, it's teaching you stillness and to like love your home and your space.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because for as long as I've known you, it's always been like, let's get up, let's go somewhere, let's do something.
Yes.
And nothing, not that reading a book at home makes you feel like this is home, but it gives you a sense of home, of like, I'm in my
like
nook.
comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
think,
like that.
Yeah, I think that's another perk for you of getting into these books, is like it's grounding you.
Yes, I would agree. So
Yeah.
that's good. And also just to mention, like my vocabulary is broadened too.
What does she say
Which
a
I
lot
always like
in
that.
those books?
There's so many things she says.
One
over
thing,
and
if you're
over.
reading those book series, and then we'll move on, because if you're not reading it, you're probably bored to death. But I've only read the first book, Court of Thorns and Roses. Now I started the second. But in the first book, I was like, everyone's purring.
Dude,
Like,
I know she says that in this series too. I'm like, what
everyone's
does that
purring.
mean?
Like, and he purred. And I've
Dude, I think it's like more of like a sexy tone.
like a long, like slow, mellow,
Yeah, like they like
Madison.
serenaded you or something with it. Like they purred it. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean,
would
I
never-
guess when I'm reading it, it makes sense. But in like when I see it now, it's like a game for me of how many am I collecting along the way. Of like,
Dude,
there's another one.
I'd be rich.
Purred.
Yeah. Damn.
But I think her writing's great. I'm not bashing it at all. I just noticed that she used the word purred.
Dude, I know. I think I was telling you this the other day, or maybe I texted Kelly, is that I saw on someone's story that they read the first book that you read. And they were like, this was the most cheesy, horribly written book I've ever read, but I'm hooked. I'll read the next one. And I like got mad. Like I like got defensive.
Like it was your
of the
personal
author.
work?
Yeah, like I had written the book and I was like, okay, fuck you. No, but I know people are entitled to their opinion, but I was just like, I'm mad at that.
Well, yeah,
And
especially because you
also-
love it so much.
Yeah, and also like to bash, like I know it was probably like a joke, but like to bash someone's work that they tried really hard on. Like she wrote like 20 books or maybe a little bit less, like 15 books in her career, and they're like New York Times best-selling books. And she tried really hard on that. So let's not talk shit.
Yeah, but that's also our mindset because I think when you're a creator in some regard, you don't bash other people as much.
And I thought that too, but this girl that said this like has an online platform. So I was just like, how is her mind like not there? Like
I don't know.
was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
I don't want to even look at your stuff anymore. That's making me mad.
unfollowed.
Yeah, legit. I don't follow
I
her,
would.
but
Yeah, I would.
yeah, I was like, you know, if
We don't relate.
If I was gonna follow you, exactly. If I was gonna follow you, I'm not now.
So defensive. Okay. Not to like keep going down the content creator path, but I think because that's kind of what we're doing and pursuing right now, that seeing different content creators, whether it's Sarah's Day, Melissa Wood, there's people like that I don't follow anymore, but I did follow in the beginning days. I'll list a few. Mimi Bouchard, who had the Mimi
yeah,
B podcast.
dude.
I was super
Where
into
is she
that.
now?
Thanks, Amanda. You turned me on to that. She has, she actually has done
She
amazing
like moved
stuff.
to the Bahamas or something, right?
Now, yes, she has place in the Bahamas and London. And listen to this, guys. She created it's anti-meditation. It was a meditation app in the beginning, but now they're coining it anti, and it's actually working. The marketing behind it's brilliant. But she has this crazy app called Superhuman. You might have seen it, maybe not, but really robust platform and really like well known. Like it's getting a lot of traction, and she's crushing it. So she
Dude,
went
I'm
from like
proud of her.
a young girl who had a podcast to has like this mental health anti-meditation app and is doing amazing things.
Oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
proud. Wow.
I
From
know.
the beginning.
I know. I also used to listen to the Skinny Confidential podcast like every day of my life. That was so big for me. And I think it was my first exposure to like interview style podcasts.
Yeah, that's how I feel with Rich Roll. Like that expanded me. Those were like the first podcasts I ever listened to, and I was like, my mind is blown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess what I took away from them, again, I don't listen to them anymore, but what I took away from them was the versatility of guests they had on and how they were able to draw out a conversation that they know their listener base would love. Like I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And one more person that I don't follow anymore, but I used to in the early days, her name's Kenzie Burke. And she's like done a bunch of different stuff, but she also had a podcast. So I guess that was like in the inception of the Conscious Cowboys, or what we used to be called. That was kind of who I was being influenced by. And I'm glad that I'm not influenced by anyone anymore that I know of intentionally getting influenced by.
It's like kind of cool to see like where we started with who we were inspired by to who we're inspired by now. Like that evolution has changed so drastically in a good way. Like I'm happy that we've changed.
Yeah.
Who is that one woman that is now pregnant and she's in her 40s?
Jessie Golden.
Yeah, I really like her. I need to follow her actually because I feel like she has good content.
We can link all these people in the show notes so that you can peek on them. One that I follow and I talk about a lot, her name's Jessie Golden. Now, when I talk about these people, like it does feel weird for me to mention people that I follow online because I'm not someone who follows people. Like I don't have a long list of people that I personally don't know that I follow on Instagram or whatever.
Me either.
But there are a few select people that really do act as expanders to me that I actually like consuming their content because it makes me feel good and it shows me like kind of a path that I want to go down. So this lady, Jessie, she now lives up in Ojai, but she was in Malibu or Topanga, and she's like this earthy, like spiritual goddess woman
Like
who has her own
literally,
brand. And
yes, she's like is golden. Like
Yeah.
whenever I see her, I'm just like, she's actually glowing from the
Yes.
inside out.
yeah.
I want to be like that.
Yeah. And so she's got like, I don't know if he's still a teenager. He might be like 20 now, a son. And then she's pregnant again with another baby. And it's just like to see how she is with this pregnancy at this age, like it just really opens my mind of like, there is no rush. You can do
Right.
it. Like she
Right.
obviously, she did have a long journey with getting pregnant. She did IVF, but
Mm-hmm.
her grace at which she handles things is inspiring to me. And like her ability to tap into her intuition and to be connected to the earth. I'm like, this is what I want for myself.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's a good one. Thanks for bringing her up. Yeah, she's really awesome.
Yeah, I know. I do need to follow her. I will. So, okay, another one for me is, which I've talked about this on the podcast, are journeys. Yeah, which I haven't done in years because I feel like, which I'll explain what they are, but I feel like when the last time I did it, it just like wasn't productive for me anymore. So I just stopped. But a journey is basically like a facilitated, how would I explain it? Like you take a drug and it's not, like, I don't even know what the drug is. This sounds horrible, but it was.
I just like go blindly into
facilitated-
this.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I
it's
take a
facilitated
random
by
drug.
a shaman. And I started this because my aunt and uncle were really into it. And they would hold these ceremonies at their house. And it's not, what is that one herbal, like herbal plant medicine, as they call it, that is like Indian tribes do it. Why can't I think of what it is? I like in my head want to say ashwagandha, but I know what ashwagandha is. It's really gnarly.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
why can't I think of the name?
I don't know.
Okay, that's not right.
Yeah.
If I think
Is
about
it like
I'll say
is it okay? But let's forget about the name. Is it a heart opener? Like, what is it supposed to?
Basically, they had like categories of what each plant medicine is, what they call it. I think they also would call it like sacrament, like more spiritual terms for it. But they would go based off of like how I really can't explain this right now. But they would go based off how many like substances are in your current life. Like, do you drink caffeine? Do you take drugs on a regular basis? Do you smoke cigarettes? Whatever it is. So I would get like the minor dose of whatever they would prescribe. And it would basically last for like, I don't know, maybe like 8 hours. And you would stay overnight at my aunt's like home that they had. And you would be with like 20 other people. And so they would facilitate you like along your spiritual journey. And you would say like what your intention was when you got there. And then the next morning you'd have breakfast. And then you guys would talk about your experience, which I remember, oh my God, I was like 19 maybe when I did the first one, maybe 18. And that part of it, like having to explain your experience after was so horrible because you're already like vulnerable. Yeah. And you're like open and you like had this experience with people that you don't want to have to talk about again. Like when you're all straight the next day, like that just was not for me. But
especially when you're that young and like trying to figure
like, oh
your
my God,
shit
I have
out.
to public speak right now.
You could probably do it now just based on how far you've come.
I have more self-awareness now, so I could like actually discuss my feelings without feeling like I was being judged for them.
Yeah, and I think beyond that, you also have gotten to a place where you are more comfortable sharing. Like, it's not that you maybe were less I mean, yes, we could argue that you were less self-aware.
Self-conscious also, like just so insecure.
But now you've like evolved so far beyond that, and not that you don't have moments.
Like 10 years. Yeah, like legit 10 years.
Yeah,
ago.
lots happened.
Yeah, it has. So I remember the first time that I did it, like I was coming out. I'm trying to think of like where I was in my life at that point, but I think I was like trying to figure things out. Like I had maybe stopped going to the Fashion Institute, and I was like in between like when I was going to work for Brandy Melville. So I was trying to figure out my stuff, and my aunt was like, hey, why don't you come join us? And I did. And I just remember having like the most fun experience ever. Like I felt like very closed as a person before then. And then when I went to that journey and we took the plant medicine, and I was just like, oh my God, this is who I'm meant to be. Like, I was just like open, had no like hesitation with talking to anyone, like no judgment on myself or others. And I loved that, obviously. Like, it took away my inhibitions in like a good way. And so it opened my mind, and I maybe did it like 5 times. But then the last like 2 times I was like, maybe this is not for me at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I feel like when I was doing them, like I would get like violently ill. Like, and that happens to me if I take drugs. Usually like I'll feel like nauseous, but before I would come on to it, like I could get nauseous and then I would have to throw up every single time. And like anticipating that, you're just like,
I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And then people would be like, oh yeah, that's you like getting out like the negative energy, which I'm like, yeah, maybe there's like some truth to that. But then like afterwards, when I'd be like throwing up for like a few hours, like, is it really that
hours?
Much? Yes. Like on and off, I'd have to sit by the toilet. And I was like,
no, you're just having
my body's
chemical
literally
reaction.
Like, please stop putting this in our system. Like, this is not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But it definitely expanded my mind for sure. Like, I remember the first time I went in, I had like brown hair. Like, this is like a physical trait where I was like, I have to change this. I had brown hair, and then it was like super dark, like it is now kind of. And then I was like, I need to be blonde. And I just went blonde, and I like changed my whole life. And I started working for Brandy Melville, and then just like a lot of shit happened after that. But I will say that they like, not that they caused like a panic attack, but I kind of had like this moment of like where I was separating from like who I was to who I was becoming. And that like transition in between was like so rocky.
Yeah, that's really gnarly.
Yeah, of course it is gnarly. And like when you're 19 and you're young and you're just like, oh my God, I don't know how to handle this. Like, this is the first time I've ever felt this. But that like the journey like helped me start that process. So that was good.
Yeah. Really interesting.
You know, I'd be down to do something like that again in that realm, but just a little bit different, maybe a lot different, like facilitated obviously by others and in a different setting. It'd be cool.
I know. I want to try it.
Yeah. It's
the throwing up scares me.
Yeah. And maybe that wouldn't happen to you.
Also,
maybe that
8 hours
happen to me again.
8 hours is intimidating.
But it doesn't feel like it doesn't
I'm
feel
sure
like that.
Goes
all
by
of a sudden
quick.
You're just like, wait, it's over. Like, I want to go to bed now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy time.
I don't have any other expanders off the top of my head right now. I mean, I was trying to think about it over the weekend and yesterday, but like, I just feel like I've kind of, again, like I told you about the categories in my brain where it's like, okay, I got expanded in like how I want to feel and what, like who I want around me, like what kind of energy I want around me, like that fun, loving, let's have a good time. I found that I got expanded there, and then I got expanded with creativity wise, like what's possible for me and what else is out there in career. And then like, what are my more like ethereal goals? Like, what do I kind of like, if I could slip away into like a different tax bracket, what would I have for myself?
I like that you like broke it up into categories. Like, I feel like mine were just like scattered throughout. Like whenever an expander comes, it just like, I guess it depends, but it's not like you're like seeking out an expander. It just like comes into your life and you're like hit with this wave and you're just like, oh my God, wow, things need to change.
Some are obvious, I think.
Oh
like,
yeah, most are obvious.
But some aren't, right? Like for me, I'm like, I didn't realize that expanded me as much as it did until I reflected on it. I knew that I was like, oh yeah, like I want to, like I feel this desire to pursue this, whether it's an online workout platform or a feeling I got from someone. But it, like for the online workout platform, I didn't realize how much it expanded me until I was reflecting on it. I'm like, no, that really has always called to me. Like I really think it's time.
I understand that. Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm in the mood though for more expanders though. Let's just
like, I'm always in the mood for more expanders.
Absolutely.
So
like
if you want to come around,
will just like not hit us in a bad way, but just something that's loud, you know? I'm like, I want to feel like jostled in that way, but hopefully good if you're listening, universe. Okay. Please.
Jostled though really got me.
Doesn't
That's
it
the
like
right way.
physically, like you just feel it? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just, yeah, you can envision it. I thought you'd like that one.
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll wrap it up, but also it's the first day of spring today. But if you're listening to this on Wednesday, the 19th, then the 18th was the first day of spring. But happy spring.
Happy spring.
I'm so happy that it's here and ready for it.
Yeah, me too. I was getting over the winter.
Yes.
Like
I'm always over the winter in winter. I'm just like, okay.
Unless you
We've
take
done
advantage
this.
of it. Like going snowboarding was really, really cool this year. And I hadn't done that in a long time. So now I have this like urge. I'm like, oh no, it's going to be gone soon.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for us this week. Thanks guys for listening. I hope
Thank
you are
I'm
able.
so proud that we did it.
Yeah. I
Oh
hope you're
my
able
God.
to reflect though and figure out what expanders have been, or at least be on the lookout for them. Not that you're seeking it, but like being aware of it when it comes your way. If you feel like a strong pull towards something, or it's a very obvious like shit needs to change, that you're able to recognize it for what it is, because it's really fun when you start to think about life in this deeper way.
Yeah, it's true. And also, like we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, just to remind yourself of what your expanders are so that hopefully you feel a little bit more grounded when things feel out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Good
thanks.
stuff.
Love you guys.
Thank you guys for listening. Talk soon.
Bye.